And welcome. No matter where you're tuning in from, you might be in the far reaches of the world, who knows, or you might be in a busy city. Doesn't matter. You're here now, and we're in this now moment. So, welcome to the podcast, the Peapod, a podcast about peace. I'm Teri Angel. I'm delighted that you've chosen to spend some time with us today. Imagine for a moment a world without constant conflict, a world where respect for diversity is the norm, a world where understanding replaces fear. If that sounds like a dream to you, that's okay, because that's the world we dare to dream of, and that's the world that we strive to build here, one conversation at a time inside the Peapod. Each week, we explore the theme of peace from various angles, from the philosophical to the practical, from the personal to the political. We engage with thought leaders, peace activists, scholars, artists, everyday heroes, and all of whom are united by a common purpose, the pursuit of peace. This is a space for stories that heal, stories that bring us together, stories that remind us of our shared humanity. Robert Fulghum said, "Peace is not something you wish for, it's something you make, something you are, something you do, and something you give away." Here at the Peapod, we believe peace isn't just the absence of conflict, it's the presence of justice, it's the celebration of diversity, and most importantly, it's something that begins with each one of us. So let's begin this journey together, whether you're seeking solid solutions or solace, inspiration or insight, you're in the right place. Here, we don't have all the answers, but we promise to ask the right questions. I am so glad to be here today with my guest, Jennifer Wallens, who is a trusted and evidential psychic and spiritual medium. I've always had trouble with that word. Animal communicator, artist, paranormal investigator, psychic detective, lecturer, author, radio and TV personality. In addition, she has been a metaphysical teacher for over 25 years. She has 20 plus years of experience as an environmental scientist, biologist, and is very concerned with obtaining detailed evidence and facts regarding proof of life after death. Her current titles include Vice President for Psychic Research and Paranormal Studies and Chief Examiner for the American Federation of Certified Psychics and Mediums. Jennifer is certified by the American Federation of Certified Psychics and Mediums and also featured on bestpsychicdirectory.com and considered one of the best and most reviewed certified psychics and mediums in the USA. So welcome, Jennifer. There's so much more. Jennifer is just amazing, and I'm going to be putting her whole bio up with this broadcast for the replays. For anyone who opens it up, you will see all about her. So Jennifer is with us today, audio only, so you won't see her beautiful face, but her picture is up there, so you can get an idea of what she looks like, surrounded by animals, of course, because that's what we're here to talk about, right, Jennifer?
Right. And thank you for inviting me. I'm so happy to be here. And if I can fix the problem, I might be able to come on video in a little bit. But at this moment, I'm lucky to get the Wi-Fi ability, but I'm afraid it'll either be audio or video, and your video is no good if you can't hear me.
So. Yeah, exactly. We'd rather hear you for sure. Not that we don't want to see you, but yeah. Yes, you can't hold a conversation with just a picture, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, gosh. Thank you for the lovely introduction, too. That was so nice.
Absolutely. You know, we've spoken a couple of times, and I just get such great energy from you And I'm also an animal communicator. So we've really jived as far as being able to be in touch with animals and what that means and what that looks like. Because to me, everything is energy. So our beautiful fur babies, they're energy, just like we are. And so why wouldn't we be able to communicate with them, right?
Exactly, exactly. I know one of my teachers long ago said, you know, there is nothing that we cannot know. And yeah, if we really put ourselves into a space where that energy can flow to us, raising our vibration and having pure thought and wanting a good outcome for a good reason, we should always be able to get that information for someone or for ourselves, even for
Mm-hmm.
our animals.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer, do you have animals? I see some with you in the picture, but I didn't know if
Oh,
those
yes.
were yours.
Oh, yes. Right now, I only have one little poodle, and her name is Sophia. She's
Oh,
17 years old, and she is a little sweetheart, little 4-pound poodle. I did have two little poodles, and I had another big dog, but have down to the little Sophia. But she's a little mighty one, as a lot of listeners and you might know. Doesn't mean just because they're little. They usually have the biggest personalities and have are the feistiest. Let's say that way. They're very powerful, little as they are.
they sure are.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I feel it's like they're trying to make up for their lack of size.
I do believe, like, look at me. I'm little, but I'm here. Yep,
Yeah,
it's so
yeah.
true. So
You know,
true.
people do that too. So why
Yeah,
wouldn't we expect any less from our animals, right?
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's very, very true. Um, I was thinking that today I had a reading with a woman who her dog went missing. It was very, very sad, and I'd been helping her, and the dog, she was getting ready to take the dog to put it down because it had gotten to that point where it was so ill, and it got out the back gate the day before she was taking the little dog in. Unfortunately, the dog has passed on to spirit, but fortunately, she's happy about what I was able to show her, and that the dog's at peace and with other dogs that they'd had before and with her son. So sometimes even bad news about your animals can be good news. It
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
and sometimes as a psychic, and you see things that are upsetting to us. I didn't want to see that this little dog was gone and
Mm.
where its body was. I didn't want to see it, but I saw it clearly. And when I told her, she said, "Oh, I'm so relieved." Oh, it just
Yeah.
shocked me because I thought she would just, it would be terrible. But to her, she said, "Oh, I just know now, you know, he's
That's
already yeah." So every day I appreciate so much being able to do this and to connect and help people with their animals, no matter what stage of life they're at and whether they've crossed over.
Yeah, it's that unknown that is so terrifying and
Mm-hmm.
causes such anxiety. And I find that with people who have lost loved ones as well. A lot of times when I'm working with a client, they just want to know that their loved one's okay, that they're at peace, and it's that not knowing. And that's the thing with being a human. There's nothing we can put our finger on and say, oh, there they are, or this is exactly how it is. We just tune in psychically and spiritually, and we bring them those messages that we receive.
Right. Yep, absolutely. And isn't it amazing? You just never know how it's going to come in, or in what way it's going to be presented to us. But I'm always just amazed that it comes in the right way. so that it can be relayed to
Mhm.
comforting. It's just,
Right.
it's just beautiful. It's great.
Yeah, I think I need to put my headset on. Give me just a minute. I'm
Okay.
staying with someone, and when they come home, the doggies tend to go crazy. So we're probably going to hear some noise.
I'm
Okay.
surprised my dog hasn't come to the door and started to scratch to say, let me in, let me in. She's mad at
Right.
me at the moment.
What are you doing in there, right?
Exactly. My dog, so my dog's out there visiting with her, so it'll be okay.
Oh, okay, good.
I
You
think.
know, I've always wondered, what do animals think when you go through a door? It's like one minute you're there, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, what happened? You know?
Exactly. And you know what I've found is all of them are different. Some of them, they're quick learners and they realize, or you can tell them, hey, I'll be back at 3:00, and they'll know when 3:00 routine, and they're okay with that. Now there's others that are very prone to anxiety and separation anxiety and all of that, and it's harder for them. But just with practice, if you have a regular schedule, it helps those animals, that, because if you come and go at all different times, and that's what makes them very anxious, I found. So, but
Yeah. I'm sorry. They're going to
that's
be making noise for just a minute.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
it does.
It's sort of, yeah, they're the audience. They're the audience
Right.
back there.
Yeah, it does. It depends on the animal. And one thing that I watch a lot of documentaries, because I'm just a very curious person and I want to know things. And I watched a documentary once about dogs, and it was sharing that their sense of smell and hearing and their intuition is so keen that they can hear their person's car like a mile away. They know that it's that particular car.
Yes.
They know the scent of it. They know the way the engine runs. And so that's why a lot of times they go to the front door and they're waiting, because
Yes,
they know that person's going to be coming in really soon.
that's true. That's true. Yeah, it's not just the time of day, but also the sounds. Like, oh, you hear the stories. And I know of several where the dog knows when that school bus comes.
Mhm.
Can hear the school bus way off, knows that the children are coming home and get all excited to meet them at the door. Just They're just such amazing, amazing little souls, all of them. How much they teach us every single day, isn't it? Just beautiful.
Every day, they're such great teachers, and they
Mm.
are pure unconditional love.
Yes,
So that's their job.
that is.
While they're here, their job is just to show us and teach us what that's all about and what it means to be unconditional in the love that they give. I had a cat one time that I don't think she was feral. I think she had to have had a human at some point, because she was friendly. And she would come up every day to my house. She didn't want food. She wasn't interested in food at all, but she just wanted to be petted. She just wanted to be acknowledged.
Mhm.
I don't know why
Yes,
I'm not settling down.
that's okay. And she wanted to acknowledge your soul. She was attracted to your soul and your energy, knew what a light you were. And you'll notice, I'm sure, wherever you go, animals turn towards you. They don't run away from you. They don't shy from you. They are so attracted to they are the best judges of character.
Oh
And
yes,
aren't they just amazing? Cats, dogs, birds,
yeah,
all of them.
yeah.
Hmm.
Because people think that the animal sees your physical body. They really don't. They see your essence. So
Yes,
they're
correct.
reading your energy field is what they're
Yes,
doing.
yes, they are. And your smell, and they put it all together in one. okay, I like this person. This feels good. And I can, you know, like vibrate with them in a good way. They certainly know that. And when they can sense people that, I mean, I hate to say this, but people that are dishonest and don't have good intentions or have had bad have done bad things with animals in the past, maybe abused them or hit them or whatever, they do not gravitate towards those people. Even though they may have never met them before, they'll know. They'll know, absolutely.
Yeah, they do.
Mhm.
I wonder if that's one of the reasons why police use dogs,
Yeah, yeah.
because they do have that keen sense, and they're so great at tracking and finding. I had my last dog that I had. Her name was Allie,
Mhm.
and her favorite game was find. So we could hide anything. I don't care what it was. We could hide it in the house, and she could find it. She would go and pretty much go straight to it. They're so good at that,
Oh,
at just seeking and knowing exactly where to go to find that object.
mhm.
It's always intrigued me how they do that.
Yes. And the police dogs, the shepherds, and the different breeds that they use are just so intelligent and are so protective and can be trained, highly trained. Some dogs don't make the best highly trained uh, you know, dogs that would attack or pull down someone or whatever, um, or listen. you
Right.
know,
The
we all
listening
know
part
those
for
dogs.
sure. I know. We
Yeah,
won't
we
we
all know
won't
those
we won't
dogs.
mention any names.
But okay, I will mention Italian Greyhounds. If you want them house trained, okay, good luck.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
very difficult. They just are
Yeah.
dogs that really are very highly strung and need to have an outdoor space, and
Hmm.
they can come in and out, but they're just not the kind of dogs you would train to do that job. But then
Right.
if you want something to go after something like a poodle or a scent hound that can go down a hole and
Hmm.
pull out a rabbit or whatever, or find your old sock, boy, they're no bet. They're just wonderful. Don't you love the
Yes.
dog show when it comes on?
Yes.
It's like the Oscars I love the
I
Oscars
know. I
too,
love
but
to watch them.
oh,
Yeah.
they're so fun to see all the different breeds and see how proud they are, and you can see what they're thinking while they're running around, and I used to think, well, maybe those dogs aren't very happy doing all that, but I've watched them and tuned in with them, and they are just so happy to be useful and to make their trainer and their owner happy. That's their job. They love that. So
Hmm.
I've never seen one that didn't look happy. um, so those trainers, they make it that far, they're doing something right with their animals.
Yeah. They
Mhm,
certainly are.
mhm.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've been working with animals for years, and they have such beautiful personality when you really sit and listen to them. I hear them. I just hear, sometimes it's just a word, sometimes it's an image that comes in of what they want to say. And I'll tell a funny story. So this happened about, maybe 7 or 8 years ago. I had a friend with a coworker who had a little dog that wasn't feeling very well and wasn't doing well physically. And so I said, okay, just bring the dog over and we'll see what's going on. And since I had cats inside, we sat outside by the swimming pool to talk to Zeus. That was the dog's name, was Zeus. And it was a smaller dog. And she goes, can you hear what Zeus is saying? What is he saying? What does he want to tell me? And so I'm talking to her, and she goes, "What does he sound like?" It was so funny. What does he sound like? Because I've always imagined him with this Italian accent. And so I look at Zeus, and we're making eye contact. And I said, "Is that true, Zeus?" I said, "Are you Italian?" And I didn't get anything. It was like blank. And I said, No, I'm not getting that he's Italian, or that if he could speak, he would speak with an Italian accent. And she was curious, and I love that. And I said, well, Zeus, if you could talk to your owner right now, what would you tell her? What would you say to her, and how would you say it? And I just heard this most beautiful French voice, and I started laughing. And I said, "Oh, Zeus is French." And she goes, "French? Are you sure?" And at that moment, somebody came through the pool gate, and it was a beautiful woman. She had on a bikini. And Zeus his head just turned around like he was, ooh la la. And we both just died laughing. And I said, "There's your answer."
Oh, how cute.
Zeus was
Aw,
definitely French.
that's funny.
But
Oh,
it's funny because I hear just like a different accent or a different flavor of the way they're speaking, or they're streaming their thoughts to me. And it's just so interesting to tune into them. And we can ask them. And that's what I'd love for people to ask questions, because that's one question I've always gotten is, what does my animal want to say to me? What is my dog saying? What's my cat saying? And you can ask them, right, Jennifer?
exactly. You sure can. And they want to tell us. So they're telling us things all the time. Truly, they're trying to. So absolutely, that's the number one question I get too from owners is, what are they trying to tell me? What do they like? What do they not like? What are they thinking about? Is there anything that's upsetting them, or are they hurting anywhere? What did they think of this or that? And it's just so fun to get the answers. And most of the time, they're just so different than what you would expect. And the owners are just like, "Oh my goodness, you know, how did
Yeah.
the dog know that?" It's so funny. I love
Yeah,
it. It's a
it
lot of
truly is. Yeah, I've had a lot of people that have said, "Do they like their food?"
uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So, yeah, so it's so interesting that whatever is going on, we can ask and we can get the answers. A lot of animals will show us by their body language what's going on.
Right.
And I love that. There's some of the standards, like with the tail. They talk with their tails a lot
Mm-hmm.
and really do a lot of communication. So, can you share some of the ways that they communicate with their tail?
Yes, well, there's of course the ones, the tail between the legs, and they've got their body stance down and stiff or shaking. They're either frightened or they're nearly going to be in an attack, that they're upset. And other times, the tail's up and wagging freely. They're very happy and open to the situation and the person. But there can be something a little bit in between, where maybe you get one little waggy, or a tail is standing straight up, if that's with that type of breed, of course, or it's straight back and it's pointing, pointers. There's I'm trying to think of some other funny ones where they will, some get so excited their tails and their whole back ends are just basically off the ground,
Yes.
jumping up and down and so happy they can't stand it. I know when I pull out a certain food for my little poodle, I mean, she just does this happy dance, boom, 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 on her back legs, jumping around, flipping around like she's a puppy. And she's a very old dog and is very hard of hearing and can't see very well and all this other stuff. But boy, when she's happy, you'll see it. She'll wag the tail and jump and spin. She does like almost a 360. Boom,
That's so
So they
funny.
love that. Or I'm sure others where all of a sudden they get that little spurt of energy, that little happy. It can happen once a day, once a week, once a month, once every few months, where they just start going around the house at full speed and just zipping through the rooms and around the sofas and around the tables. And it's because they're just so excited and so happy at that moment. Energy flow, and it's like that's the only way they can express at that moment all the happiness and goodness they're feeling, and they just go spinning. I love it. It's hilarious. I've seen it with min pins and poodles and greyhounds and Italian greyhounds and Labradors and Labradoodles, and so many of them do that. But it's just the cutest. I'm sure you've seen that. It's adorable.
Oh yeah, I call it the zoomies.
Yes,
they're just doing zoomies in the room.
The zoomies. That's perfect. Yes, yes, that's really cute. They're just so expressive.
Yeah.
And then again, sometimes you just sit and ask them, look them in the eyes, say, okay, what's going on? And you may get the flash of a picture in your mind, that telepathy that they show you with images. Like, hey, I really want somebody left on the table, or the pizza box is still out there, and I know there's pizza in there because I can smell it. Can I have some? They show you, tell you, divert you, whine, point. They're very smart, and if they can't express it, they'll just keep trying. They will not stop trying to get their. It's a matter of being quiet, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I have a lot of people that come to me to ask about their animals that are in spirit, those who have crossed over. And I love doing those readings because they're so easy to communicate with. They're just so beautiful, and they're playful, they're gentle. And, I've had people that felt bad. They're like, could I have done more? Could I have caught it sooner? Or could I have paid more attention or done something different? And every time I have tuned in, it's like, no, please don't have any regret. Don't have any guilt. They just want that person to know how loved they were and how much they were there, just enjoying being with their human.
Yes, I've got the same exact answer. I've never received that. Oh no, you should have waited.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, and I know I've been there too. You just are not sure you're making the right decision when it comes to that end of the life, and do we let them, try to go on, or do we stop the suffering? And I've had to make those hard decisions, and it's one of the worst things in the world is to have to say goodbye to your loved one.
It truly is, but. After all these years of doing, mediumship and seeing the animals come in, it's just shown me over and over the evidence of the afterlife, and that, their little souls go on just like ours do. And they wish to communicate and let us know that. And I'm sure you feel them, right? And see them. After they pass,
oh my gosh,
in their favorite spots or curled up on the bed, you can feel them walking on the covers. That's my favorite. And then they curl up.
Yeah, you feel that pounce,
Yep. Exactly. They like to come back and visit and sit and curl up with you and sit in their favorite things and tell me about their favorite toys or their favorite moments or their favorite animals that they play with. And then there's looking at your other animals that are still here who see the animals in spirit.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right?
Absolutely. My dog, I had 3 cats and a dog, and she just wanted to play. She wanted the cats to play with her, and they were all like, get the heck away from me, you're big. And so there were times when they would just be like around and around the house where she just wanted to play, and they're like, you're chasing me, leave me alone. So after she left, she would come and play with the cats. And there was one day I had this cat named Gizmo, and he was a Maine Coon, and he was my buddy. He was my
Oh.
soul cat,
Mhm.
and he came streaking through the house. And I'm looking, and he's like got this. His eyes are so big, and I'm going, Gizmo, what is going on? And then I saw the flash. I mean, you can actually see it. I saw that flash of the tail, because she had this big golden tail, and I knew that she had just wanted to play with him, and just let him know that she was there and seeing him. But yeah, we absolutely can see them. We can sense their energy. We can feel them when they pounce on the bed, or they curl up, or rub up against us. That's what
Mhm.
I love, is when I feel something brush up against my leg, and I look down and there's absolutely nothing there, but I know that it was, a cat or my dog that used to do that. Yeah, it's so
Mhm.
beautiful.
It really is. And I just try to teach people to just be quiet and accept that. And the more that you go, oh my gosh, that's you, isn't it? The more they will do, and the more
Yeah.
excited they get that you recognize that it's them.
Yes.
And it's just such a lovely thing all the way around. It's healing for both.
Hmm. Yeah,
Hmm.
it truly is.
Yeah.
And it's, like I said, their energy, and energy doesn't die. It just changes form. It shifts.
Right.
So, yeah. So just as we can talk to a loved one, a human loved one, we can certainly tune in and listen to our beautiful fur babies, which I consider to be family. I always have. They weren't animals; they were family members.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's, it's hard to understand. Well, I mean, everybody's different, and it's how you've grown up and what you've been taught
Hmm.
about animals. The people that, are afraid of dogs, are afraid because they've had a bad experience, or were taught that, animals are not, they're just, they're not real beings. They're just animals of some kind of lower
Right.
form. But
Yeah.
no, we know that that's not true. We are
No,
all divine.
we are all divine, and
Mhm.
it's just we're in different forms.
Exactly.
Um, yeah. I love this conversation. So, Jennifer, tell us more about your session. What would happen if somebody called you up or wanted to sit with you in a session about their animal? What would be like the beginning of that? How would you approach working with their animal?
Well, sometimes it just depends. Sometimes people will send me photos of their dogs. I don't need a photo, but I think it makes them feel better. And
Yeah.
sometimes, if they have more than one dog, sometimes that can be helpful, and we can, focus on one dog at a time. But we'll just start with, I'll just kind of start with connecting with the dog's energy, and I'll start asking some, questions, or giving some information about the dog to make sure I'm connected with that particular animal. Like, okay, this is a German Shepherd, and I see 7 years old. I see a right hip issue,
Mhm.
and this is my dog. And sometimes I'll get the names. A lot of times, especially when they're in spirit, I get the name. If I'm doing an animal session with the animal that's still here, usually they'll say, "Oh, my dog, such and such." That's not so important. It's more important to get the evidence about what's going on with the dog, with its health, with its feelings, with whatever is happening with its behavior, whatever is the problem or not the problem. Sometimes they just want to check and see if they're happy, and I'll get that information if there's anything that the animal wants to say to change. um, I often get what favorite food they had and maybe haven't had in a while. They'll love to bring that up, or an animal that has passed away that they miss. I remember doing a reading for a lady about one of her dogs that passed away. away. I didn't know anything about her or any of her animals. I knew nothing, and just got on the phone. So it was a phone conversation, and I had no pictures, nothing. And I just started connecting with this beautiful, beautiful dog. And it was like, I think it was a Newfoundland big dog.
Mm-hmm.
And it started telling me, I saw a picture of what it looked like. And I heard the word Newfoundland. So I actually got the breed and everything. And I got its name. And then I said, this beautiful dog is just telling me about a donkey and a chicken. There's a donkey and a chicken, and the dog is upset about the donkey and the chicken. Well, it turns out the donkey she had just sold 2 weeks ago, and the chicken unfortunately passed away.
Wow.
Was grieving its friends, like what
Mm-hmm.
happened, what had happened to the animals, and was expressing that because animals do grieve just like people,
Yes.
and it takes them a while to get over that, and
Mm-hmm.
eventually they'll start seeing their animal friend in spirit, and that does make them feel better. But at first, sometimes they're just upset and anxious just like we get, until the connections are made where we
Mm-hmm.
can feel and see our loved one in the spirit world. But I just love that because, it wasn't, I certainly didn't expect that. And the owner was, just thrilled that the animal was showing me that information, because there's no way anyone I would have ever known any of that. And talks about health issues and different things. And often I've been given information that they didn't even know the animal had a problem. I'm thinking of one recent that the right front paw, have the right front paw checked by a vet. And the vet, sure enough, the dog had a terrible infection, but the dog wasn't limping or anything, like the owner didn't
Mm-hmm.
know. And
Wow.
if it hadn't been removed, it could have been really, really dangerous. And like in another couple days, the vet had said. So, that information is out there, and we can gather. And the good thing is that owner was proactive enough that she contacted me, or if she had contacted another animal communicator that could have connected, or she would have taken the dog to a vet, I'm sure, probably within a few days more,
Mm-hmm.
maybe. But still, I know the animal communicated something to the owner. And
Yeah.
there's always a reason they call you, right? And
Absolutely. Yes.
we're all here to help.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
so glad you brought up the grief, because they
Mm-hmm.
do. They grieve. They grieve
Yeah.
over their owners. If their owner is no longer
Oh,
there, they grieve over another animal that they have been in the house with.
mm-hmm.
I had two cats for 19 years. I had one of them. I got her first, and then Gizmo, my Maine Coon, came after that. And so Tazzy, the older cat, died first, and Gizmo went into total depression. He was so depressed and just totally grieved her. And he would walk the whole length of the house. He would look for her
Oh.
behind every piece of furniture. He just knew that she was still somewhere there because he could feel her there.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's so interesting to watch that grief process with an animal. And they can't tell us, like a human could tell us, I'm so sad, or my heart's
Right.
breaking, or there's tears. And he actually did have tears. It's so interesting that I saw a cat cry, and I don't think I had ever seen that. And I don't think I've seen it again after. But they were so bonded. I mean, being together for 19 years, you
Right.
know, that's pretty special.
Right. Yeah. Animals, they grieve. They go into that depression. They won't eat. They
Right.
won't play. They won't want to do any of their normal activities,
Yeah.
and they can have skin problems, all kinds of things. And I mean, I noticed with my little one, after my other poodle, he went through that. she was sleeping like 22 hours a day. She was not wanting to eat. Her skin, she had problems with that. And she would just, look around, and try to like you say, try to find the other animal because they could feel her coming around. So, or you see them staring off into space when really they're staring at the other dog that's come to visit,
Right.
or dogs or cats or birds or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a process, and we all, you just have to respect that they take their time just like we do.
Yes, absolutely. And just let them be sad. Let them go into whatever it is that's their grief. Grief is different for everybody. It's unique to each one of us, how we handle the loss, and we grieve over different things. We grieve over, somebody that maybe moved across the country and we don't get to see them every day. So there's a big spectrum of grief and how we respond and how we react when that person's no longer there or when that animal is no longer there. So be gentle with your animals. If they're grieving over something, just allow them to grieve. Give them their time, just like you would give a person their space and their time. And just always reassure them that they are safe. Because I think that's a big part of it too. It's like, oh no, she's not here anymore. What about me? And yeah, so there's a whole process there to put that together and say, don't know quite what's going on, but something's missing and not quite right here.
That's right. That's right. And thinking of not just grief, but the animal kingdom is so varied, and each species is so different, but they're all so highly intelligent and so highly evolved that we often don't realize that they, what I believe is, they have to talk down to us to communicate. They have to lower themselves, their vibration, in order to communicate with us, because I think they've gone past where we are in many ways.
Definitely.
Yeah. It reminds me of I'll tell a quick funny story, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I've told this on other programs, but it's just so hilarious. It just shows how smart animals are, and birds and everything. Well, when I was in Ukraine, I represented the United States as a psychic and a medium and an animal communicator. And so each week we'd have 3 different challenges that we'd have to do. So one particular one, we never knew ahead of time what was going to happen. They took us out to this big outdoor arena area. We're wondering what's going on. And there's all these ostriches. We soon find out that there is going to be ostrich races. This was actually in the Ukraine. So they would ride on these ostriches. Not exactly, it's not something that goes on that I know of in the United States, because I don't think it would be allowed, I'm hoping, because ostriches are very big, large birds, but still having a human ride them is an entertainment, right? I mean, a horse is different. A horse, a small person, they don't even feel that. But this, okay, so what the challenge was, there was going to be the ostrich races, and so we were supposed to pick the winners, right? So I said, okay. Well, I went up to the ostriches, got very close to the group of them. They all had on different ribbons, different colors. So before the race, so I sat there and I listened, and I said, all right, help me out here. I don't want to look like a fool, and help me pick who's going to win the ostrich race. And so this big female came walking up to me, and I clearly heard her tell me the number and the name who was going to win, right? I believe it was like she said, blue ribbon. And then I heard it like 4 or 5 times from the, this one, this one, this one. So I wrote it down. And I said, okay, so race number 2, who's going to win? Red ribbon, red side, write it down. I was like, this is amazing. I can't believe they're telling me this. Oh my God, I'm going to get this. I'm going to win this challenge. I'm all excited. And then the yellow and whatever. Okay, so there was like 4 races. So we get to the, so then all the psychics and mediums from around the world, we're up there on this podium and we're watching these crazy races, which I didn't like, first of all, because they were, they had little whips to hit the birds. Oh, didn't, not.
Yeah, that doesn't sit well with me either.
No, didn't like this. But, I couldn't stop. I had nothing that I could do. But anyway, so the race goes on. Darn, I didn't pick the winner in that one. Second race happens. Didn't pick the winner in that one. Third race, nope. Fourth race, nope. I didn't get any of them. And then I looked again and I realized those ostriches told me who won. Of the ostriches, the ostrich that knocked their person off first wins to them. So I picked everyone who lost, so the ostrich picked their man off, knocked him off their back. That's the winner of the race to the ostrich.
Wow.
I picked every single one.
They had their own thing going on.
They had their own race and what they thought who would win.
Oh my gosh.
And Uri Geller, the Israeli psychic mystic, whatever you want to call him, he was one of our judges. And he's the only one that understood what happened. And when I figured that out and said it, he said, she should have won because she's the one who communicated with those animals and got the winners. And he had my back on that. So I love that story.
I love that story too. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they definitely had their own little thing going on. Didn't matter what the humans were doing.
That's right. That's right. And so I was shocked. I was like, oh my gosh, they did. They had a plan and they knew they were. I thought that was awesome.
That is so awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Oh my gosh, Jennifer, it's been such a delight to have you on and have this conversation about our beautiful fur babies and our family members that we just, we misunderstand them sometimes. We block ourselves from really seeing what's going on or hearing what's going on. So this was really enlightening, I think, to just share with people. You can communicate with your animals. You can definitely hear what they're trying to tell you. You can see it by the way they use their body to communicate with you. And they never leave, just like people don't leave. We shed this human body. Well, they shed their animal body, and they're still there. Their spirit is still there. So treat them that way. And if you have a beautiful memory of your beloved animal, just keep bringing that into your mind and into your heart. And I think you'll find that they'll maybe rub up against your leg, or they'll jump on the bed or the sofa beside of you. You might feel them snuggle with you. So get to know that spirit animal that's right there still with you, because they don't go away. Once they bonded with you, they're going to be with you. So thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for everything you shared today. And I want to encourage people to please reach out to Jennifer if you have a need for having animal communication. Jennifer's amazing. So please take her information. And so, Jennifer, would you share the best way for someone to reach out to you?
Absolutely. It's just go to Jennifer Wallens, WALLENS.com. Or my phone number is 702-334-6675. And we can book an appointment that way. And I am having an animal communication reading special right now. So they're $100 off. So there'll be a 30-minute reading and it's $150. So for the next 48 hours, But for anyone who listens to this Peapodcast, just mention the Peapodcast and we'll honor that special, okay?
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you, Jennifer.
Sure, of course.
So go check out her website and just send her a message and let her know that you heard her on here. If you enjoyed this and if you have any questions, just let her know. Thank you, Jennifer. I'm sure we'll be doing this again. We're going to collaborate on some things.
Yes.
So I hope you have a blessed day, and thank you again for being here. Thank you, everyone, for coming in. So much love to everyone. I'll see you next week on the Peapodcast. Have a great day, everyone. Namaste, y'all.